Good evening. Can you all hear me? Okay, so without any delay, we'll start because this is a little bit lengthy. It's 9 o'clock. You can start immediately. I have given you the rights, and at 10 we will start the discussion. Please start. Okay, time is up. So let me just upload the poll. Just a minute. Yes, please start. Okay. So now that you've marked your answers, let's start with the discussion. Uh, Question number 44 to 47 are from this passage on Toyota production system. Pretty easy passage where he tells you that Toyota they have extremely detailed operating procedures, and what is interesting is the fact that these operating procedures they are designed not by the management, but they are designed by the workers on the shop floor jointly with the supervisor through a series of hypotheses and through trial and errors. They have actually designed these procedures, and that particular team which has designed this procedure, it will very rigidly, it will thoroughly, follow that particular operating procedure. However, in the same line, in the same assembly line, different teams can have different procedures, and it is not very rigid. It gives lots of flexibility. And the best thing is that all this design is done at the lowest level of the organization. That means it is done at a place that is closest to the site of action. So there is no command control system in Toyota. Then he tells you that because there is such kind of an arrangement, therefore there cannot be any optimal or standardization across the organization. So he tells you that people, even though if there are three different teams that are working the in the same assembly lines, these assembly lines are contiguous. They may they may devise different countermeasures to tackle the problem. Okay, and this is the philosophy of Toyota. So I think pretty much clear. This passage does not have much problem. Based on this passage, question number 44: what can be best defended as the asset which Toyota model of production leverages to give the vast range of models in a defect-free fashion? I think what does it do? It allows people to make decisions. The company management does not interfere. So it actually believes in the ability of workers to evolve solutions to problems. So there is no control command system. Uh, it believes that people who are working closest to the site, they can solve the problems, and they can create or form their own operating procedure which they will follow. So it should be number four. Some people mark number one, some people mark number two as well. Large scale complex manufacturing systems. So because Toyota has large scale complex manufacturing systems, that is why they are able to provide models in a defect free fashion. No, that is not true. Uh, Toyota is able to provide a vast range of models in a defect free fashion because of the intellectual capital of the company's management. No, of course not. This passage is not about the company's management. We do not know anything about the company's management. We just know that they give a lot of leeway, they give a lot of latitude or freedom to the workers to devise their own procedure. So one and two will not work. It has to be number four. 45. Which of the following can be best defended as a precondition for the Toyota type of production system to work? So if the system has to work, then the management will have to have faith in workers' abilities to solve problems in a rigorous manner. If this faith is missing, then the system cannot work because it is only when when the management has faith in the workers' abilities, only then they will give them a lot of freedom to devise their own procedures. Why not four? Okay, high management is involved towards problems that are identified by workers. This is not required. According to this passage, high management is not involved. The workers, along with the supervisors, they create their own procedures. And that is why within the same assembly line that is contiguous, different teams can have different procedures. So no, there is no involvement of high management. Number four will not work. Gorang. 46. I think this was one of the easiest passages to have ever appeared in XAT. Number 46. Based on the above passage, which of the following statements is justified? I think the very first one, workers have significant control rights over the design of work rules that allow workers' skills and ingenuity to continuously search for novel micro solutions using information that often sticks to the local micro context of the work. This is what he's trying to say. This is the gist of what this passage is trying to say. So one should be the answer. And I think there's one more question from this passage, number 47. Yes. Okay, Ashish, you want me to explain number three? Work rules enable the workers to report the problems faced at the shop floor to specialized personnel. Wrong. There are no specialized personnel. These people, the workers on the shop floor, along with the supervisor, they design their own procedure. It's not that they go to a specialist. So three is wrong. Okay. Number 47. What could be the best defense of the different work norms in contiguous assembly lines? What is the best defense? If you want to support it, what will you say? It has to be number two. When you prescribe standardized work norms, it would prevent Toyota from benefiting from workers' problem solving ability in resolving different kinds of problems that emerge, thus making it difficult to attain the Toyota philosophy. Yes, very right. Number two has to be the answer. Anybody has any issue from question number 44 to 47? Please tell. There were lots of fill in the blanks. I think three, four questions were there. So 48, the author has dashed his composition to the best of his dash. Okay. The first word that comes to my mind over here is skill. Whatever he has done is he has done it to the best of his skill and ability. ऐसा कुछ word चाहिए over here. Then he says, yet listen to it with a sympathetic. Now there are three possibilities: mind, intellect, and heart. Your mind and intellect cannot be sympathetic. Your heart has to be sympathetic. Okay. So option number one to three gone. Your heart is sympathy. Sympathy comes from heart, not mind and intellect. So your answer is either four or five. Okay. And I think this will tell you that your answer should be number four because the author has refined his composition to the best of his ingenuity, that is skill. Yet listen to it with a sympathetic heart, O righteous souls, and judge it. Should be number four. 49. Unless you stop me with an objection, I'll continue to the next question. Okay. 49, very, very, very easy. Number one, there is much difficulty in getting to this place. Okay. You cannot use the word to and then have a gerund here. है ना, ये तो पता ही है आपको रूल, बिकॉज वो तो इन्फिनेटिव हो जाएगा. टू के बाद वर्ब लगाना पड़ेगा ना. यू हैव टू पुट अ वर्ब हियर, ओनली देन इट बिकम्स एन इन्फिनेटिव. And this verb should not be in the ing form. So with the ing form, you cannot use to before the ing form, which means your answer cannot be two, three, and then there is much difficulty in getting to this place. You get to a place, so getting in this place nahi ho sakta. It is not possible to reach it. It's a destination. Reach it. So that is why number one is the answer. Number 50. Question number 50. What have you marked? If you have a doubt, yes. If you have a doubt, why not go and verify? I shall be waiting in the shade of this banyan tree. Because you already said shade, you cannot say under. I will be waiting in the shade under this banyan tree is not right. Shade to under hi hota hai, so you cannot have under, and that is why number 5 should be the answer for 50. 51. Which is the odd one out? All of them are antonyms. All of them are antonyms, but they are in the noun forms. Only number 3 is an antonym that is in the adverb form. And that is why I think number 3 is the odd statement. All 5 are antonyms, but they are in the noun forms. It's only number 3 which is an antonym, but the form is adverb. So I think number 3 is the odd statement, odd word. 52. Okay, people who marked number 5 and number 1, what was your logic, Anisha? 5, I want to hear why you marked 5. Okay, no response. Let's come to 52 to 55. Loathing did not seem to be the opposite of devotion. You hate somebody and you're devoted to somebody. You love somebody or you're devoted to somebody. हाँ ठीक है. Perfect. Perfect synonym से कोई भी नहीं है वैसे तो. Perfect synonym तो फिर कुछ भी नहीं है. Wisdom and folly भी perfect synonym तो नहीं है. Wisdom का perfect synonym तो होगा stupidity, not folly. So if that is the logic, तो फिर number 1 भी होना चाहिए और बनाओ. ठीक है. ओके. फॉली का मतलब फूलिशनेस भी है. हाँ, in your folly means in your stupidity. So stupidity shows foolishness. So it's not exactly. ऐसे तो ये तो अगर आप if you actually take it if you actually take it in a figurative sense, then that is why I'm saying all of them are antonyms. All of them are antonyms. ठीक है. But these two are antonyms in the adverb forms. Devotion and loathing the antonyms हैं. If you actually go and check, if you go and check in the thesaurus, you will find that devotion का antonym loathing भी है. किसी ना किसी सेंस में तो है ही ना. राघव, I was saying folly. Folly is actually error. Folly का ना literal meaning error होता है. First meaning जो है. So error का opposite wisdom नहीं होता वैसे, by the way. So perfect antonym नहीं है. Secondary meaning can be foolishness, which actually means stupidity. Okay. Okay, no issues. No issues. We'll come to the passage from which we have question number 52, 55. Now, he's talking about something called Fermi's paradox. What is this paradox? We don't know, but he tells you that why is it? Why is it? I mean, we generally think that extraterrestrial intelligence must be evolving. जो extraterrestrial intelligence है वो evolve हो रहे होंगे, grow हो रहे होंगे, and but some people also believe that because they're evolving, that means they will have a tendency to be self-limiting, even self-exterminating. So the more you evolve, the more you limit yourself, and the more you exterminate yourself. And this is a view that actually started after Hiroshima because we, in a sense, we evolved. We made for the first time. We actually used an atomic bomb. So we evolved, but then with this evolution, we are also destroying ourselves. And that is why people think that is why aliens have not come and conquered Earth. So why they have not conquered Earth? Because they are, in all probability, pretty busy. They are pretty busy with their lives. They are pretty busy with their runaway consumerism and virtual reality narcissism. So they are not focusing. They lose the cosmic plot. Just like we humans, we are very busy with our lives. We are very busy evolving and with our evolution trying to somewhat destroy ourselves. So the same thing must also be happening with extraterrestrial intelligence. Just like we are very busy with runaway consumerism and virtual reality narcissism, the same applies to extraterrestrial life as well. And then he says that the fundamental problem is that we actually we should pay attention to the indirect cues of biological fitness rather than tracking fitness itself. So this is an example of what he's trying to say. Okay, हम क्या गलत कर रहे हैं? That is what he's explaining in the third paragraph. सर्वज्ञ cosmic plot मतलब the big picture. They lose the cosmic plot means they don't look at the big picture. वो काफी narrow हो गए हैं, self centered हो गए हैं, अपनी लाइफ पर ही सीमित हो गए हैं. Okay, now he is giving an example how this happens. He's telling you that when we have an evolved mind, when we grow, when we evolve, then all those things that have an impact on our biological fitness, we should pay attention to the indirect cues, indirect signals. Okay, so उस पे हमें ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए rather than tracking fitness itself. How fit I am, ये ट्रैक करना it is going to be very problematic या फिर useless होगा ये. Rather, I should check whether my BP is okay or not okay, whether my sugar is okay or not okay, because these two will indirectly impact my fitness. Okay, so the same thing. This is the problem which he is trying to tell you that now everything has become indirect. Everything has become indirect. We are trying to evolve shortcuts. ठीक है, शॉर्टकट्स हम इवॉल्व कर रहे हैं. वी आर इन्वॉल्व इन फिटनेस प्रमोटिंग ट्रिक्स, कॉन्स, रेसिपीज, heuristics that work on an average under ancestrally normal conditions, but these are not normal conditions. Okay, so what is happening is that we have a lot of fitness taking technology. बहुत सारा fitness taking technology है, and we are so involved with this technology that we have also lost the plot. We have lost the cosmic plot. We are, in a sense, limiting ourselves and exterminating ourselves. So we want to be fit rather than really going out and playing sports or running. What we're doing is we play on the Xbox. We actually we are addicted to fitness taking entertainment products. So the more we are evolving, the more we are limiting ourselves. So जो ट्रेडिशनल स्टेपल था that is gone. वो सब neglected है. Today we are too much into seeking technologies. Okay, we are very addicted to those technologies which fake reality, which simulate reality. So, and he tells you that in 2005, the focus of inventions shifted to virtual entertainment, or if it's a problem start हो गया, ठीक है ना? And maybe the bright aliens did the same, and that is why they have not attacked us. That is why they have not conquered us. This may be the reason, because they're so busy, they are so involved with the great temptation, they are so busy with the technologies that they cannot look beyond it. Okay, and then he's saying perhaps there will be some people, कुछ ऐसे लोग होंगे, there would be some lineages, there would be some people who will resist this great temptation, and these people will last long. काफी सारे लोग बड़े irrational बन जाएंगे. They will not involve in these kind of simulations. वो काफी self control करेंगे, and when the world will come to an end, जब सारे लोग अपने आप को एक्सटर्मिनेट कर लेंगे, then these people who have waited patiently for our fitness taking narcissism to go extinct, then these people will inherit the earth. Okay, and when these people come together, when they achieve contacts, when they come in contact with each other, it will not be a meeting of novel readers and game players. It will be a meeting of real people who are dead serious and who congratulate each other on surviving not just the bomb but the Xbox. So he's trying to tell you about um, evolution, and how the more we evolve, how more we are limiting ourselves, and we are in a sense exterminating ourselves. How we are more engrossed in virtual reality rather than be involved in physical reality. So this is the crux of this particular passage. So if I ask you, number 52, among the options, which one represents the most important concern that is raised in the passage? I have marked number 3 as the answer. I have marked number 3 as the answer. Number 2, I think, is wrong. It's not that people lack interest in developing proper fitness. No, they have an interest. The only thing is, rather than developing this fitness through physical reality के through develop ना करके, what they are doing is they are taking the help of virtual reality, and this is what is problematic. So I am going to mark number 3 as the answer. Quran, number 4. Technological advancement and extinction of intelligence. No, he never says that when we advance technologically, our intelligence becomes extinct. He never says that. He never said that. This is wrong. When you are evolving, ठीक है ना? A time will come that you will become so evolved, इतना evolved हो जाओगे कि इतना self limiting और self exterminating हो जाओगे that the world will end. That does not mean that people will become less intelligent. No. So number 4 is not right. 53. Which among the following would be the best possible explanation for lack of contact between human beings and aliens? I think number 5. Very, very simple. This has to be number 5. Aliens have become self centered and pleasure seeking. Yes. Easy one. 54. To which of the following statements would the author of the passage agree the most? Number 4. The author will agree that wars and colonial conquests engaged in by the European nations after the Renaissance would not have occurred had fitness taking gadgets and consumerism existed in those countries during those times. Because if these had existed, then people would be very, very busy in these technologies. They would not have much outside contact. Real contact नहीं होता, virtual contact होता. So number 4 is the perfect answer for 54. Uh, and I think there's one more question, number 55 from this passage. Okay, like I told you, unless you object, I will assume that you have understood what I've just said. 55. Which of the following statements is true? Challenges the ideas that are presented in the passage the most. I think statement number one, statement number three, and statement number five. These three statements challenge the idea that because of as we become evolved, we become self-centered, we limit ourselves. ये तीनों हैं violent crime, including gang warfare for turf protection and expansion. It coexists in all technologically advanced societies, in spite of proliferation of fitness-taking technologies. So even though virtual reality is present, still actual actual crime and warfare is existing. So this is against the idea presented in the passage. Number three, countries that have the most advanced technology, they are the ones that are at the forefront of preparedness for wars. So even though they have a lot of technology, they are not very busy. They are prepared for wars. So number three is also right. Teenagers who have access to technology, they engage in more socializing away from parental supervision. So even though they have access to technology, it's not that they are limited to it or limited by it. They socialize a lot. So one, three, and five should be the answer. The other three, the other two, the technology to produce fitness-taking gadgets is guided by the government's desire to control the minds of citizens. This is not right, and to keep citizens away from engaging in troublemaking activities. This does not challenge the idea. Even if government is trying to control the minds of the citizens, still people are staying away from reality. So it does not challenge the idea. In fact, it in a sense strengthens the idea. So number two is not right. The era of colonial expansion that was engaged in by the European nations after the Renaissance would have never taken place had the technology to produce fitness-taking gadgets existed during these times. This actually supports the idea. If these technologies had existed, then people would not be engaged in wars. Real में लड़ाई कुछ नहीं होती. So this is strengthening and not challenging the idea of the passage, and that is why number four is wrong. Question number 56. Nature is dash and unchallengeable. Now, uh, if I say harsh, if I say relentless, I'm being negative. I am being negative. Okay. So there is nothing in this passage which tells me that nature is negative. We'll have to be neutral. So I'll immediately strike out one and four. Nature is such that it is unchangeable. We know that, but we cannot say that nature is harsh and nature is relentless. And it is dash as to whether its hidden regions and dash are dash to man or not. So nature either is persistent or it is inexorable or it is inescapable. ये work करेगा. And it is heartless. Nature is heartless and apathetic. Again, negative connotation words. Nature is apathetic and heartless. I don't think that is what he's trying to say. Nature is unconcerned, indifferent. अगर यहाँ पे word indifferent या unconcerned हो, that is a better word. Heartless and apathetic both are negative connotation words. So I don't think two and three will also work. For me, answer is going to be number five. All of you mark three. Okay. Uh, Sarvagya, please explain runaway consumerism. Runaway consumerism matlab everybody is involved in just spending money. Everybody is involved in full, shopping, purchasing, spending money. उसी से satisfaction मिलता है. That is called runaway consumerism. There's no saving. Okay. Relentless. Relentless, yes. How is relentless negative? Relentless is used. Relentless means not giving up. You don't give up in a stubborn way. Okay, when you are relentless, you are stubborn. You don't give up. So stubborn negative connotation होता है ना. So between these two words, relentless and inescapable is a better word. Relentless is perseverance. Uh, you persevere, right, but in a stubborn way. When you are relentless, you persevere, but in a stern way, in a very stubborn way. That is why it has negative connotation. You don't give up. You are, pretty stubborn. Please understand that generally, when you talk about a person who is not giving up, and you want to say something that's in a positive way, okay, something in a positive way, we generally will not use relentless. We generally will use he's persevering. Gorang. Many times it is used in a positive sense. Many times it is used in a positive sense. Yes, it can be, but generally it is used in a negative way. Most often it is used in a negative way, relentless. हाँ ठीक है गोरा. I understand. ऐसे तो do you know that many people use the word apathetic? Apathetic is actually a synonym of indifferent. Apathetic का मतलब neutral होता है, पता है आपको? I mean apathetic dictionary meaning is neutral and indifferent. ठीक है? But still, if you see, apathetic has a negative connotation. It is used in a negative sense, but otherwise it's a synonym of neutral and indifferent. ठीक है? Apathetic का मतलब है I give a damn. Chetan, this question was in one test, answer was one. In fact, if you look at different solutions, they will give you different answers. Chetan, different solutions will give you different answers. Okay? So I think why I believe number five is the best answer, because why I believe that number five is the best answer, because all words are neutral. All words are neutral. इसलिए whereas in number one में थोड़ा सा relentless word में problem हो सकता है. Both actions and activities are correct. Let's see third blank. Nature is, if I say, inescapable and unchangeable, and it is unconcerned as to whether it's hidden reasons and actions. Actions of nature. Activities, this also is a valid point. This also is a valid point. Nature के actions से better activities हैं. This also is a valid point. Mayank, what if you mark 5 or 1? Okay, you have marked number 3 as the answer. Okay, you have marked number 3. 3 तो मैंने बोला apathetic की वजह से नहीं होगा. Intelligible means you are able to understand it. If something is intelligible, you are able to understand it. So whether you are able to understand it or not, nature को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Nature is unconcerned. Okay. Should I move to next one, 57? 57. Impressions are direct, vivid, and forceful products of immediate experience. Ideas are copies of these original impressions. So impressions वो होते हैं जो first time आप encounter करते हो, और ideas are those things which are copies of these impressions. तो जो बाद में आपको याद आता है, दे आर आइडियाज. Assuming the above statement is true, which of these statement will logically follow? Every impression leads to an idea, not necessarily. Ideas must follow an antecedent impression. Yes. The color of the 2011 XAT test booklet right in front of the candidate is an impression. Yes. Whereas the memory of the color of a television set is an idea. Correct. If one was interested in origin of the idea of the color of a television set, then one need to understand the impressions from which this idea was derived. Correct. 2, 3, and 4. Answer should be 4. Gatin 3 is not right because option number 3, statement number 3 is also right. जो आपके सामने है यानी जो पहले आप देख रहे हो वो impression है. The booklet that is in front of you, that is impression. What impressions are direct, and ideas are copies of these original impressions. So ideas उनको कहते हैं जो आप एक बार आप डायरेक्टली किसी चीज को एक्सपीरियंस कर चुके हो, and recall when you recall those impressions, they are called ideas. So the memory of the color of a television set is an idea. Correct. Fourth statement तो correct है ना, Gaurang? Fourth statement, he tells you that ideas are copies of impressions. That means if you want to know about ideas, you'll have to understand impressions. Only then you'll know about ideas, because ideas are copies of impressions. So the first hand experience होता है, पहली बार देखते हो किसी चीज को, that is impression. बाद में जब आप उसी चीज को याद करते हो, these are ideas. So answer is 4. I think we have solved this question in our sessions, classes as well. 58 and 59 both are from the same passage. Media are not just passive channels of information. Not only do they supply the stuff of thought, but they also shape the process of thought. And what the internet seems to be doing is chipping away our capacity for concentration. What will strengthen the argument presented above? Okay. Now, हाँ 1 तो मार्क किया था, हम सबने 1 मार्क किया था इस क्वेश्चन के लिए, but I think 1 is not right. I think 1 is not right. I'll tell you why. Because the same question, there is another question here. What will weaken the argument? And I believe during class also we discussed that for both of them we'll have to consider the argument to be different. If I consider that the argument is concentration levels are decreasing, concentration levels are decreasing, in that case I can strengthen this argument by talking about number 4, and I can weaken the argument by talking about number 5. Okay. Actually, this question, ये बहुत सारे अलग-अलग tests में different people have given different interpretations. In fact, if you search for 5 different solutions, they will have 5 different answers. In fact, R.S. Agarwal ने भी question number 58 का answer 1 ही दिया हुआ है. If you actually look at the book, R.S. Agarwal book, he has the answer he has marked is 1 for question number 58. But then I think there will be no consistency. If I say our concentration, capacity for concentration has decreased, okay, capacity for concentration has decreased, I can strengthen it by saying that the people who fall asleep while reading a book has increased in the last 5 years. So our concentration has decreased in a sense. Even though ये भी बहुत ज़्यादा convincing नहीं है, but this, in a sense, this is the only one that will probably strengthen the argument. Now, if I assume that the argument is media are not just passive channels of information, अगर मैं ये assume करूँ that this is the argument कि media passive channel of information नहीं है, then I can strengthen it with one. I can strengthen it with one because in number one we are talking about Nisha, and and we are saying that Nisha, when he used the typewriter, it is a channel of information, typewriter. So machine started guiding him. Machine was not passive. He actually, what he did is he molded his style according to the machine. So under the effect of the machine, Nisha's prose changed from arguments to aphorisms, from thoughts to puns, from rhetoric to telegram style. So the machine had an impact on Nisha's style of writing. So this also can strengthen, but only it can only strengthen if I assume that media are not just passive channels of information. That is the argument. तो अगर वो आर्ग्यूमेंट है तो सेकंड 59 में भी वही आर्ग्यूमेंट होना चाहिए. But then we will not find any answer. We will not find any answer to weaken this argument. So what does this tell us? This tells us that we are somehow, this passage is framed in such a way that it seems that there are two conclusions. Uh, and I think the second one, which is that our capacity for concentration has decreased, that is a more valid conclusion. No, actually, there is one way. There is one way. If we are, I actually read it in some book. इसमें अप्लाई करके देखते हैं. Therefore, test x, therefore y, x therefore y या y therefore x. हाँ, जीमैट की बुक में ना. हाँ, yes. X therefore y या y therefore x. Let's check. इससे चेक करते हैं. X में अगर मैं assume कर लूँ, media are not passive channels of information. Therefore, our concentration capacity has decreased. Makes sense. This makes sense. अगर मैं उल्टा पढ़ूं, मैं y assume कर लूँ second वाले conclusion को that our concentration capacity has decreased. Therefore, media are not passive channels of information. Which one is better? If I consider one of the statements to be x and one of them to be the y, first one, na? I think the first one is better one. If we are confused between two conclusions, what we can do is we can consider one of them to be x and the other one to be y, and we can read them like this: x therefore y. If this makes sense, then y is the conclusion. Y therefore x. If this makes sense, then x is the conclusion. I think over here x therefore y makes sense. So implication is that we should consider the decrease in capacity for concentration to be the main argument of this particular passage. And that is why answer for 58 should be 4 and 59 it should be 5. Okay? 3 versus 5. 3 versus 5 for 59. Okay. Why not 3? Because in number 3, you are saying that their skill is comparable. Okay? This will also weaken, but ज़्यादा weaken कौन सा करेगा? Which one is stronger? This will also weaken, but यहाँ तो comparable ही है ना? We haven't lost our concentration. अच्छा, ये बोलने से वो weak होगा या ये बोलने से ज़्यादा weak होगा? We have lost the concentration. Forget about it. In fact, we have increased our concentration. We have become better in concentration. So, which one is the most strong point? I think number 5. So yes, what you're saying is right. Number 3 भी है. Number 3 भी is in a sense weakening it, but number 5 is a stronger one because it is saying that rather than weakening, our concentration has become better. Okay. Sarvagya, in 58, you want to discuss? What you want to discuss, tell me. कहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम है सर्वज्ञ? Option number two. Option number two. Okay. So uh, our concentration capacity has decreased. You have to strengthen this. अच्छा, you want to assume that machine is taking away our focus? ये argument है. But right now I said that if this is the argument, then 59 it is not going to work. 59 को कोई आंसर ही नहीं मिलेगा ना. And these two questions are from the same passage. So implication is that media are not just passive channels of information. This is not the conclusion. Even though it is written in a very tricky way, but this is not the conclusion. Okay. You are considering second part. Okay. You are considering that our concentration capacity has decreased. Okay. You want to strengthen it. So option number two is strengthen it. Seems okay. One of the effects of timekeeping instruments has been that we have started deciding our daily activities based on the clock and not based on our senses. So concentration capacity तो addressed ही नहीं है इसमें. You are, how you form decisions. You don't form your decisions according to your senses. You form your decisions according to the clock. But concentration capacity has not decreased in number two. The only thing is that your decision making process has changed. So two does not strengthen it at all. ठीक है. Number 60. I move to 60. Randomness has to be dealt with successfully to ensure a better control over one's life. Before one can deal effectively with randomness, one must acknowledge its existence. The above statement implies the following except. So, what is not implied? Number two. Number two is not implied. If one acknowledges the existence of randomness, one will be able to deal with it effectively. No, that is not true. If see, if you want to come first, you will have to. Okay, you will have to study hard. ये ऐसे है कुछ, हाँ? Does that mean that if you study hard, you have to come first? नहीं. So number two is not implied. ठीक है. फोर्थ कैसे implied है? Everyone and one एक ही होता है ना. When I say one, when one has to do this, so in a very generalized way, I'm saying that when any human being has to do this, so everyone lives in a random world. सबके लिए है ये. Because of the word one, it means everyone. Whoever is the author is addressing humanity at large. Okay, so number four is implied. I think maybe I just also I believe we have done this in CR in our class exercises. In fact, इसमें से दो चार questions और भी कर रखे हैं हमने. 61. Perhaps this war will pass like the others which divided us, leaving us dead, killing us along with the killers. But the shame of this time puts its burning fingers to our faces. Who will erase the ruthlessness hidden in innocent blood? Which of the following is certainly not implied in the above verse? Number two, it's not implied that humanity gets divided and it reunites. ये तो बिल्कुल implied नहीं है. It reunites afterwards in peace. This is not implied at all. Number two should be the answer. Gaurang, you marked five. Somebody marked number three also. देख लेते हैं. This war is especially ruthless. Yes, who will erase the ruthlessness hidden in innocent blood? So what? ये what is ruthless नहीं? This is implied. Number five. No, none can obliterate the ruthlessness of this war. हाँ तो ये this is a rhetorical question. Who will erase the ruthlessness hidden in innocent blood? मतलब कोई नहीं कर सकता. That is what he's trying to say. So nobody can obliterate it. Nobody can finish it. Number five is implied. अनीशा क्या बोल रहे हो आप? 60 में 5 explain. Number 60. Okay. 60 में you want me to explain number 5. If one does not acknowledge the existence of randomness, one cannot deal with it effectively. Implied A. If you want to come first, you have to study hard. But if you don't study hard, you cannot come first. Simple. Anisha. If you don't study hard, you cannot come first. But if you study hard, does not mean that you have to come first. समझ आया? फर्स्ट क्या है? इफेक्टिव डीलिंग. नो, फर्स्ट इज एक्नॉलेज. पहले एक्नॉलेज करो. ओके, फर्स्ट एक्नॉलेज विच इज इक्वल टू इफेक्टिव डील. ठीक है ना? तो पहले एक्नॉलेज करो तभी इफेक्टिव डीलिंग होगा. तो इफेक्टिव डीलिंग के लिए एक्नॉलेज करना जरूरी है ना. बट दैट इज नॉट मीनिंग कि अगर आपने एक्नॉलेज कर लिया तो इफेक्टिव डीलिंग हो ही जाएगा. तो करेक्ट हुआ ना? नहीं ना, अभी तो मैंने बोला राइट नाउ आई टोल्ड यू अलीशा, if you acknowledge you will be able to effectively deal with it. So effective dealing के लिए acknowledgement जरूरी है. Does that mean that अगर आपने acknowledge कर लिया तो you will be able to always deal effectively? नहीं ना, no. Not necessary. That is a condition. और भी conditions हो सकते हैं ना. There can be other conditions. हाँ राघव, very rightly put. जो आप बोल रहे हो that is what I'm trying to explain here. So answer will remain 2 for question number 60. 61 we have already discussed. 61 answer is 2. 62. Traveling is my hobby. Today in the Himalayas, as I drag my feet through the dash. Himalayas में snow होगा तो snow तो slush होता है. Slush, sludge नहीं हो सकता. Slosh नहीं हो सकता. Okay, sludge नहीं हो सकता. It has to be slush. Slush is partially melted snow. So as I drag my feet through the slush, I cannot but think of the same time last year when I was negotiating the thick dash of the Ganges Delta. Now ये water है, because this is water, so water में जो mud होता है that is called sludge. SLUDG, sludge. Or for that matter, the time I spent with my children sloshing. Sloshing means splashing about in the waters of the Arabian Sea. Answer should be number 1. Slush is partly melted snow. Sludge is mud or mire, mitti. Alluvial soil is from कहते fertile soil. And slosh is actually splashing the water, moving through water, splashing it, wading through water. So answer for 62 should be 1. Till now it's all okay. Anybody has any issue till now will please ask. Okay. Slush. Slush once more. Okay. Slush. SLUSH. Slush means partially melted snow. Snow that is not very hard. Okay. You can walk through that snow. उसको slush कहते हैं. Uh, 6C. In spite of being perceived as dash by all. So even though he's perceived as dash by all, the club members decided to dash Arun. These two words have to be opposites. If one is positive, another has to be negative. Federate does not make any sense. Federate means belonging to a federal or group. That does not make sense. Felon. Felon is a serious criminal. So in spite of being perceived as a felon होना चाहिए, not just felon. So this cannot be right. Federate also should not be right because federate means belonging to a federation or group. So in spite of being perceived as feral, feral means wild, wild in a natural state. So feral is possible. In spite of being perceived as febrile, febrile means feverish, feverish. So feverish also I don't think will make sense over here. Okay. In spite of being perceived as feckless, feckless का मतलब क्या होता है? Feckless का मतलब होता है you are very unconcerned. You actually are very careless. That is feckless. You're unconcerned. So even though he is considered to be unconcerned by all the people, still the club members decided to felicitate him. Felicitate का मतलब होता है you garden him. So I think number 5 will work. मयंक felon क्यों नहीं? Felon एक serious criminal होता है. So you have to put a felon in spite of being perceived as a person. Felon एक person है ना? So as a felon ये होना चाहिए. And plus even if felon is right, then last cannot be right. Febrile मतलब feverish, that cannot be right because he's trying to say that in spite of being perceived as feckless, that is useless, lazy, unconcerned, still, the club members decided to felicitate Arun. Who is Arun? A skinny teenager with prominent dash. So ये teenager है और उसके features बता रहे हैं. So I must be talking about freckles, the spots on his face and body, especially face. Face with the spots हैं. So he's a teenager who has prominent spots on his face, and they are felicitating him as the member of the year so that the whole affair would be felicitic to Arun's father, who was recuperating after a serious illness. So father को खुश रखने के लिए वो felicitate कर रहे हैं, even though he is very feckless. So they want the father to be happy. So the affair should be felicitic. Felicitic means favorable, making you comfortable. उसको felicitic कहते हैं. So number 5 is the best answer. Feral is also a very important word. Feral actually means wild, uncultivated. Wild, uncultivated. In fact, this word it also means in its natural, um, in its natural shape or body state. अच्छा, whatever in its natural state. In its natural state. Something is feral, that means it is in its natural state. Feral. So 63 answer should be 5. 60, crude. ठीक है, crude. Yeah, crude. Crude becomes very negative. Crude becomes very negative. Feral can be used in both ways. Feral दोनों ways में use हो सकता है, positive as well as negative. Okay. For example, there are so many places all over the world where tourists cannot go because the governments want to keep these places sterile. They want to keep it in its natural state. They don't want these places to be disturbed by people. North Korea. Achha, I was not aware. Possible, it is possible, and feral negative भी हो सकता है. जैसे lions are feral animals. Lions कोई domestic animal तो है नहीं. Lions are feral animals. They are wild, they are uncultivated, they are always in the natural state. You cannot domesticate them. Exactly. 64. Punctuation. Punctuation, which one will work? Number 5. Why? I'll start. A person's frames of perception and action are narrow in early stages of development. Why they are narrow? Because they are focused on social membership and technical competence. Full stop. The early life of the organization often is focused on survival and efficiency, comma, only later and rarely emphasizing process of learning and development. Full stop. However, वैसे तो इसके बाद भी कॉमा होना चाहिए था after however, but वैसा नहीं है यहाँ पे. However, in later stages, uh, both the individual and organization become more concerned with the learning process itself. How they become concerned? Uska explanation hai, so there has to be a colon here because this is an explanation. The way the perceptions and practices are articulated and revised in interactions and how more people can be engaged in mutual learning and inquiry. Full stop. Should be number 5. This is how you put the punctuation. Take a look, please. Okay. Colon, semicolon. Difference. Whatever is A, उसके बाद यहाँ पर, here you will have examples. After the colon, you will have examples. You will have explanation. Okay. This has to be complete. This may be incomplete. This may be incomplete sentence. But semicolon it does not work. A and B both complete होंगे. They will be complete sentences. This sentence both will be complete sentences. They will have the same idea. Idea same होगा, but expressed in 2 different ways. Parallel. There would be parallel sentence. Yes. Semicolon presents breaks, I guess. Yes, breaks, but there are 2 ideas. वो दोनों आइडिया एक दूसरे से कनेक्टेड है. सेम आइडियाज हैं, बट इन 2 डिफरेंट वेज. सेमीकोलन. आई थिंक इसी में ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होगी. बाकी तो कॉमा वॉमा में नोबडी हैज अ प्रॉब्लम. बट so 64 answers should be 5. I'll move to 65. Number 2 for what? 65. I don't know. I have marked 5 as the answer. I have marked number 5. Why? Because it is something like this. Water becomes dirty when you clean with it, Battery becomes dead, battery will die if you play music. Wood will burn when you cook food. Juice will be ferment. Juice ferment हो जाएगा when you convert it into wine. But rain will thunder when it will fall. ये necessary नहीं है. This is not necessary. This was the logic why I marked number 5 as the answer for question number 65. What is the relationship in B? Battery. Battery will die, isn't it? When you play music, तो बैटरी डाई हो जाएगा ना जिस भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट का से आप म्यूजिक प्ले कर रहे हो यूज हो जाएगा ना वो इट विल बी यूज्ड water will become dirty when you clean with it in the process if you actually see water battery wood juice all of them are impacted they're impacted in different ways they become dirty they become dead they burn or they ferment ये impact होते हैं but rain before falling it has to thunder is that the impact no rain may be accompanied by thunder maybe जरूरी नहीं है See, I told you how these are impacted. Water, battery, wood and juice. इनके ऊपर कैसे impact क्या impact होता है वाटर डर्टी हो जाता है बैटरी डेड हो जाता है वुड बर्न हो जाता है जूस फॉर्मेंट हो जाता है रेन तो थंडर नहीं हो जाता ना ओके दैट इज व्हाई आई मार्क नंबर 5 as the answer I move to 66 choose the odd one out the balloon goes up you idiom है the balloon goes up means the situation becomes unpleasant when the balloon goes up that means situation becomes unpleasant okay so on the left hand side you have an idiom and on the right hand side you have an example of the idiom so the situation becomes unpleasant spot fixing scandal ठीक है this is not odd in the altogether मतलब naked nude in the altogether is an idiom which means nude so इसका example bathtub है okay correct halcyon days halcyon मतलब happy days उसका example childhood है correct not odd real McCoy means the real thing the genuine thing उसका example दार्जिलिंग टी है which is considered to be the real tea or best tea in the world so uh, real McCoy का example दार्जिलिंग टी correct है it's nothing odd throw down the gauntlet throw down the gauntlet means to challenge someone for a fight throw down a gauntlet to challenge for a fight or contest उसका एग्जाम्पल यूएन पीस कीपिंग फोर्स हो ही नहीं सकता बिकॉज यूएन पीस कीपिंग फोर्स दे डू नॉट टेक फाइट्स दे एक्चुअली they actually try to maintain peace. So number 5 is the odd one. So this should be the answer. Okay. Gauntlet actually are the metal gloves. The metal gloves that were worn by warriors as a part of their armor. And in earlier days, when any warrior used to take off those gloves and throw it down on the ground, that means he's challenging the other person for a one-to-one fight. Throw down the gauntlet. And if the other person picks the gauntlet, that means they accept the challenge. So gauntlet is actually literally means metal gloves, that is worn by warriors as part of their armor. 67. Arrange the sentences in the correct order. Answer is 3. Okay. Only one person has marked 67. Okay, Raghav 1. जिन्होंने नंबर 3 से स्टार्ट किया है प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द फिड्यूशरी तो फिड्यूशरी कौन है फर्स्ट आइडेंटिफाई तो करो पहले who is the fiduciary because he is saying the term fiduciary derives from the Latin fiducia or trust and the fiduciary is expected to act in good faith so who is the fiduciary over here he is just saying what is the meaning of the term fiduciary does not necessarily imply that the fiduciary has to be person so the moment you say the fiduciary, you're talking about the person beforehand. So first introduce that person. That is why three should be the best answer. Okay, I gave you the logic why three is the answer. Now coming to 68. Arrange these sentences again. Here it is four. यहाँ पे four है. And this one I think was easy. 69. Anybody have any doubt till now? 69, he's saying that what people are doing is that people are simulating situations, and people are trying to find out. They are conducting experiments in which they are trying to uh, put people under a low physical fidelity simulation, as long as cognitive fidelity in a team simulation was maintained. So exercises are being conducted जिसमें कि लोगों को ऐसी जगह डाला जा रहा है, ऐसे सिमुलेशन एक्सरसाइजेस में डालते हैं वो, in which physically वो बहुत harass होते हैं, physically they are harassed a lot, they are in a lot of physical strain, but even though they are in a lot of physical strain, their cognitive fidelity, that means the ability to the decision making ability does not diminish. Their decision making ability is maintained so that they can make natural decisions. They can they ensure that naturalistic decision making of soldiers will not be compromised. So what are these exercises trying to do? They will put people under intense physical stress, but ऐसे तरह के physical stress जिससे कि mental stress ना हो, rational आपकी faculty जो है वो hinder ना हो, so that you will be able to make natural decisions. Now, question is, which of the following will weaken the logic of this passage? Number one, so definitely, number one, definitely true, because it says a number of studies have shown that high levels of physical stress lead to weakening of decision-making capacities or capabilities of human beings. So this is not going to work. One is definitely true. Number two, it has been convincingly demonstrated by various studies that human beings by nature are not designed to adapt to high levels of mental stress. But mental stress की बात नहीं हो रही है. We're talking about physical stress here. You have a lot of physical stress, but your mental capacity is not hindered. So two will not make sense. It will not weaken the logic. And number three says numerous studies have shown that simulated environments can be designed to be good substitutes. This actually strengthens what he's trying to say. So it will not weaken. Number four, studies have shown that simulated exercises for armed forces personnel have tended to induce a systematic type of correct and common behavior among trainees. This is not weakening because no, sorry. This is weakening because according to this passage, when these soldiers are under so much physical strain, their mental capacity is not hindered, and they make natural decisions. If I say if I say that you will make some common or some correct decisions and not natural decisions, you will make there will be some systematic types of decisions or behavior and not natural decision making, you are weakening his stance. So number four also will work. Number four will also weaken what is trying to say. And number five is talking about recruitment. Officers, when shortlisting soldiers for critical operations, pick up battled, hardened soldiers rather than those who have been trained through simulations. So this does not address the question of whether when we put somebody under physical strain, but we want their mental capacity not to be hindered so that they can make natural decisions. Number five does not weaken or does not address this at all. So according to me, answer for this question should be C. 69. 70. We humans are not only afraid of being in the dark, we are also afraid of being kept in the dark. So everything that has happened, we have attributed it to the gods. हर चीज के पीछे हमें लगता है कि कुछ ना कुछ ऑर्डर तो है ही. रैंडमनेस से हमें बहुत डर लगता है. वी आर वेरी स्केर्ड ऑफ रैंडमनेस. वी थिंक देयर इज अ हिडन ऑर्डर. पहले हम गॉड्स मानते थे. नाउ वी थिंक देयर आर ग्लोबल कॉन्स्पिरेसीज. कुछ भी ऐसा हो जाता है जो कि हमें समझ में नहीं आता. वी बिलीव दैट कोई ना कोई तो ऐसा है. देयर इज समबडी, देयर आर सम पीपल हु आर हाइडिंग देयर इन्फ्लुएंस ओवर अस. ऐसा नहीं है दैट थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग रैंडमली. No, they are not random. These incidents are too numerous to be random. There must be a central planner who is at the hub of a sinister form of order. So we humans always think that there is order. Randomness नहीं हो सकता. Why? Because it is better for us to think that we are all being kept in the dark by sinister forces than to admit the fact that there is no order. Everything is random. ये हम accept करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है. So earlier we used to attribute everything to gods, and now we attribute everything to hidden influences. Okay, this is what he's trying to say. Based on this, which of the following statements would weaken the underlying logic of the passage? I think 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4 weaken करेंगे. You mark number 3. No, but the answer should be number 2, not 3. 1 तो definitely है. The human need for order is highly exaggerated. It more often than not leads to creation of theories about the universe. जितना ज़्यादा sensational theory, उतना ज़्यादा prevalent it becomes. So I'm weakening it. So order, we think that order है, but here I'm saying order नहीं है. Number 2, the universe is less guided by pure randomness than by well-defined natural processes which are subjected to randomness at varying intervals of time and space. So randomness तो है. The universe is guided by randomness, but ये randomness vary होता है. So I'm weakening his logic. He is saying there is no randomness. He is saying that behind everything there is an order which we cannot see. So number 2 also will weaken what he's trying to say. Number 3 will not weaken. The strength of their case for a variety of conspiracies, to strengthen their case for a variety of conspiracies, the conspiracy buffs are extrapolating from a very small set of observed coincidences. तो वो एक छोटे से डेटा से वो अपने कंक्लूजन बना रहे हैं. So what is wrong in that? Sample तो है ना. Based on the sample you are making decisions. So I cannot say that this is wrong. It's a very small set of observed coincidences, but sample फिर भी है ना. Still they have a basis. Still they have a basis on which because of which they believe that there is order. Basis तो है. ये basis जो है वो बहुत छोटा है, but still they have a basis. So number 3 is not very good point. If I want to weaken him, it's not very good point. Number 4 देखते हैं. The persons who are propounding the different conspiracy theories, they are novelists who use these theories as a backdrop during the construction of the plots of their novels. Yes, and they because of what these novelists do, people become scared. Reality में कोई order है नहीं. So number four will also work. The, the human fear of being kept in the dark is much stronger than the fear of lack of order. This will actually strengthen what is trying to say. So this is strengthening the argument. And the question asks us to weaken it. So one, two, and four होना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. My answer should be two. Anybody has any issue till now? It's a lengthy paper. I think there's 77 questions, but number 71. Which of the statement will strengthen the case for belief in sinister forces and conspiracies being at work? So if you want to say that there are sinister forces and conspiracies that are at work, what will strengthen the case? Number one, number two, and number five. One, two, and five. One, two, and five. इससे क्या होगा? Answer four. Answer should be number four. Because I say science has progressed, but still more than 80% of the phenomena we are not able to explain. That is why sinister forces में conspiracy में believe करते हैं. Yes. There is existence of photographic evidence. A photographic evidence भी है which tells us that UFOs are there. And that is, and human mind can be manipulated. So this also strengthens our belief in conspiracy here. There are sinister forces. Number five also is right. The Darwinian study of evolution of species, which is the cornerstone of belief in fathomable randomness of the workings of the universe, has come under a stabbing attack for its inaccurate depiction. So डार्विन के हिसाब से सब चीजों में रैंडमनेस है, बट उसको मैं अटैक कर रहा हूँ, which means I believe there is no randomness, there is order. सब चीजों में ऑर्डर है, एंड ये ऑर्डर कौन मेंटेन करता है? सिनिस्टर फोर्सेस. So number 5 is also right. 3 and 4 will not work. How to? 2, you have photographic evidence. आपके पास एविडेंस है कि there are UFOs, and you have evidence that human mind can be manipulated by somebody else. तभी तो आप सिनिस्टर फोर्सेस और कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरी में बिलीव करते हो. Rahul, somebody can manipulate your mind. You have evidence that they are UFOs. That means somebody is manipulating your mind. There are conspiracies and there are sinister forces. So number 2 is strengthen what he's trying to say. Number 4 is not right. Just because I introduce the teachings of Bible does not mean that I believe in sinister forces and conspiracies. So number 4 will not work. 3 में देख लेते हैं. The fear of our actions and thoughts being controlled by someone else has intensified with the widespread popularity of the depiction of its gory outcomes by different novelists and movie makers. So novelists और movie makers इसको क्या करते हैं? Wait. Novelists and movie makers, fear of our actions and thoughts being controlled by someone else has intensified with the widespread popularity of the depiction of its gory outcomes by different novelists and movie makers. So, इससे will it strengthen my belief in sinister forces and conspiracies? Yes, it will. देखते हैं. I think it can make sense. Number 3 can make sense. The fear of our actions and thoughts being controlled by someone else has intensified Okay, with the widespread popularity of the depiction of its story outcomes by different novelists and movie makers. Huh, this makes sense. I think this makes sense. C also makes sense. फिर क्या मार्क करें? Hmm. Okay, C also can make sense. I also get the feeling that C can make sense. Uh, Rachit, one does not look good. But don't you think that if 80% of the phenomena has not been explained by science, that so it leaves space for other things to explain, or वो other चीजें हैं, sinister forces and conspiracies. One is good enough. One is also good enough, but not necessarily sinister forces. तो conspiracy तो होगा ना, कौन कंट्रोल करता है? Who controls it? Hmm, okay. Aditi, you are saying that okay, 80% is not explained, but that does not necessarily mean that this 80% phenomena is carried on by sinister forces. It may be carried on by good forces. Yes, that is what you're trying to say. Okay, I get your point, which is valid, which is pretty valid. Hmm. There could be some other explanation also. Okay. So it's only number one where we cannot say that whatever is unexplained is being done by sinister forces. बाकी सारे और ऑप्शन में sinister forces हैं, conspiracies हैं. ठीक है, correct. I think what he's saying is right. So we'll have to change the answer. ठीक है, right, right. So one को छोड़कर we'll mark number three. So आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? 2, 3 and 5, which is 3. ठीक है, correct. I agree that answer should be 3. Should be 3. Okay. 72. Anybody else has any issue? 72. Easy passage. He tells you that the carrot and stick approach, it only works up to a point. Whenever somebody is doing mechanical work, mechanical skills होते हैं, the carrot and stick approach will work. But if you are at a level that requires cognitive abilities, then carrot and stick approach does not work. So monetary incentives के limitations होते हैं. You'll have to have different to motivate people who do those work which requires cognitive abilities. Monetary incentives are not going to work to a large extent. That is what he's trying to say. So simple passage, very very simple passage, and he's asking you identify the statements that are either are logically consistent with the content of this paragraph. I think 4 and 5. Statement number 4 and 5 are consistent. Therefore, answer should be 5. ये तो पैसेज जरूर करना चाहिए था because this was one of the easiest one in this paper. 73 and 74. Two friends, paradox and heterodox, they are discussing. According to paradox, reality is something that cannot change. Reality is something that is unmoved and undisturbed. Reality का मतलब होता है being. Reality is something जिसका कभी ना कोई existence हुआ ना कभी वो खत्म होगा क्योंकि reality was always there. Reality is something that neither came into existence nor will it cease to exist because it always is. So all those things that change, every motion and disturbance belongs to the changing world of unreality, which he calls becoming. ठीक है. And things that are becoming, things that change, they are unworthy of serious study, क्योंकि वो रियलिटी नहीं है, अकॉर्डिंग टू पैराडॉक्स. हेरोडॉक्स तो बिल्कुल ऑपोजिट आइडिया है. अकॉर्डिंग टू हेरोडॉक्स ऑल थिंग्स चेंज. परमानेंस तो हो ही नहीं सकता. परमानेंस and the concept of being is only an illusion. So everything changes, there is always conflict, and there is always survival of the fittest. This is the principle at work in the universe. So everything happens through this interaction and change. And that is why if you study human activity through an idealized state, if you look at human activity from a fixed state where everything is unmoved, undisturbed, then it is inappropriate. So opposite view hai dono ke, both have opposite views. If I ask you, number 73, which of the following statements is logically consistent with the views of paradox? Paradox के view, I think 4 and 5. Answer should be number 3. Because number 1 will not make sense. A fly is traveling on a flying arrow. तो motion तो हो रहा है, movement हो रही है. Even though the fly perceives it to be at rest. Perception is not important. In reality, the fly is traveling on a flying arrow, so there is motion. So this flying arrow cannot belong to the realm of being. ये reality नहीं हो सकती है, है ना? So number 1 is not right. Paradox इसको नहीं, reality नहीं मानेगा. The activities of day-to-day life are concerned with unreal part of human existence, and hence they should not be subject to moral standards. Paradox has has said nothing about moral standards, so number 2 also cannot be right. Maintaining a balance among the various constituents of society is essential for the well-being and continuing existence of the soul. Maintaining a balance means movement. Movement करना, चीजों को change करना, और जैसे चीजों को change करोगे वो unreal हो जाएगा. It is not something that paradox is going to believe in. So number 3 also is not right. Number 4, number 5, they are saying that जो भी चीजें move करती हैं, they do not have any underlying causes that are relevant for study, because the notion of perpetual flux is erroneous. This is what paradox is trying to prove. So number 4 is consistent with his views. Also, he says that the real is something that is and cannot be non-existent. Real तो हमेशा से था, हमेशा रहेगा. Reality is one and unique, it does not change. So, number 5 also is consistent with his views. Therefore, answer is 3. 74. Which of the following represents an implication of Herodox's ideas? So, अगर हेरोडॉक्स के हिसाब से जो चीजें मूव करती हैं, things move, they are always in a state of flux, and that is why we cannot have a standardized way of studying them. Therefore, answer is number 5. So implication is that there is nothing called time space invariant reality. Time और space में चीजें invariant है, change नहीं हो सकती हैं. This notion is wrong. Why? Because there can be numerous realities across times and across human cultures and civilizations. So best answer is number 5. I think we have done these questions in class as well. Anybody has a problem in 73 and 74, because they are very good questions. 73 and 74 are very, very good questions. Okay, we come to the final passage. 5 reviews of the novel Caught in a Blizzard are produced. Reviews are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, question number 75 is asking you, based on the analysis of the different reviews, which reviewer is most likely to have read the book in greater detail as compared to other reviewers? कौन होगा वो? Number one. क्यों? Because this guy has inculcated whatever he learned from that book in his life. इतना deeply पढ़ा है उसने. He says the novel can change your life. It has changed mine. It has made me reflect critically about my life. बाकी सारे all the other things I can say after reading it superficially. But I can only say it has changed my life when I actually have undergone this transformation. So number one should be the answer for 75. 76. ये भी बहुत easy था. This 75 to 77 was very very easy. 76. Out of the 5 reviews given, which one can be most objectively verified? Which one can you verify? I think you can verify number two, because he's saying that the novel has become popular piece of literature among the youth, more among the youth than among the older population. सर्वे करके पता कर सकते हैं कि यूथ में ज्यादा पॉपुलर है या ओल्डर पॉपुलेशन में. It is very very verifiable. Objectively, it can be validated. So number two should be the answer. And finally, number 77. Which viewer eulogizes, that means praises? Which viewer praises the author rather than critically reviewing the novel? So number 4, novel के बारे में बात न करके author को praise करना. So he's saying the author is known to be a writer of great power. The intricate and captivating plots in her novels, उसकी novels के बारे में बात नहीं करना. This passage is about one particular novel called Caught in a Blizzard. So rather than concentrating on this particular book, what he's doing is he's talking about this person as a totality and praising this person. So 77, answer is 4. Okay. So please take a look. It's pretty late, so I'll not keep you waiting. People who want to log off, you can immediately log off. Good night from my side. But people who have queries, I'm still here with you. 12:15 Pacific. Okay. Cut off high होगा इसका. 34 क्वेश्चन है इसमें. इसका कट ऑफ हाई होगा. आई थिंक 14 होगा इसका. 14 या 15 होगा इसका कट ऑफ. बिकॉज पेपर लेंदी जरूर है बट डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. ओके. मार्क्स या क्वेश्चन? मार्क्स, नॉट क्वेश्चन. मार्क्स. आउट ऑफ 34 योर अटेम्प्ट शुड हैव बीन 24-25. 24-25 अटेम्प्ट होने चाहिए थे और 14-15 मार्क्स आना चाहिए. ओके. ओके. 45 मार्क्स दैट का कट ऑफ. दैट का कट ऑफ तो 8 भी होता है. जब 28 क्वेश्चन होते हैं, सम पेपर्स आर सो डिफिकल्ट दैट 28 कट ऑफ 8 है. 8 भी होता है कभी कभी, है ना? यू नो दैट. You know that sometimes the papers are very difficult. So even though this paper was lengthy, but this paper was not very difficult. That is why I have kept it on a higher side. Cut off. Okay. So people who are leaving, good night from my side. Take care. Till the time we meet again. Next time we'll try to solve question of that 2010. Take care. How Vivek? Is that English level is pretty good? Okay, take care. Good night.
Music